Hey, welcome to our explainer on Roatan, the stunning island jewel off the coast of Honduras. Now, this is a place of just incredible beauty and deep, deep culture, but there are definitely some important things you're going to want to know before you even think about going. So let's dive right in. We're kicking this off with this really powerful proverb because it just perfectly captures the spirit of resilience you'll find all over the island. This isn't just a story about turquoise water and sandy beaches, it's a story of survival and cultural rebirth. And that is absolutely central to the whole Roatan experience. And really, that quote gets to the heart of what this explainer is all about. Roatan is an island of beautiful, stark contrasts. Yeah, it's a world-class tourism destination for sure, but it's also got this complex reality that kind of asks visitors to be a little more thoughtful, a little more aware. Okay, so Roatan's biggest claim to fame, its crown jewel, is its location. It's sitting right on the Mesoamerican Reef, which is the second largest barrier reef system on the entire planet. This, right here, is what makes it an absolute paradise for divers and snorkelers. The underwater world is just breathtaking. So for anyone planning a trip to Roatan, the first big decision you've got to make is where to stay. And it almost always comes down to two main spots, West Bay and West End. They're literally right next to each other, but trust me, they offer completely different worlds. So let me just ask you, what's your travel style? Are you looking for that classic, toes in the sand, all-inclusive resort kind of vacation? Or are you after more of a laid-back, bohemian village vibe, with funky dive shops and local bars on every corner? Your answer is going to point you in exactly the right direction. Okay, so here's how it breaks down. West Bay, that's your picture-perfect beach scene. We're talking gorgeous white sand, bigger resorts, but it can get really crowded, especially on cruise ship days, and it's definitely pricier. Then you've got West End. This is the heart and soul of the diving community. It's got what people call a happy hippie vibe, it's way more budget-friendly, and it feels more like a real living village. The bottom line is pretty simple. If you're there for the beach, West Bay. If you're a diver or just want a more local feel, it's West End, hands down. But look, no matter where you end up staying, the real main event for so many people is what's waiting for you just beneath the waves. The diving in Roatan is absolutely legendary and for very, very good reason. I mean, with over 80 miles of reef wrapped around this island, you are completely spoiled for choice. But out of hundreds of named sites, there are a few that just consistently rise to the top. So what are the absolute must-see spots, according to the local dive masters who know this reef like the back of their hand? Here you go. These are the top 5 based on a survey of seasoned local instructors. Now you'll notice 4 of the top 5 are for advanced divers. They're known for these dramatic walls and some pretty strong currents, which of course attract tons of fish. The number 1 spot, a combo called Texas and Pablo's, is famous for this exhilarating drift dive where you just see massive, massive schools of fish. But I really want to zoom in on number 4 here, Blue Channel, because this spot is fantastic for all skill levels, and it's kind of like getting 3 different dives in one. Seriously. You start on this beautiful wall, then you navigate through this incredible maze of swim-throughs and tunnels, and you end up in this shallow, grassy area that is just a paradise for underwater photographers looking for tiny creatures. It really shows you just how diverse Roatan's underwater world truly is. Now, as incredible as the reef is, the human story on this island is just as powerful, if not more so. To really, truly understand Roatan, you have to understand the history and the vibrant living culture of the Garifuna people. This is a truly incredible story of resilience. The Garifuna culture was actually born on another Caribbean island, St. Vincent, from this fusion of African and indigenous peoples. But in 1797, they were forcibly exiled by the British, abandoned on a barren island where more than half of them perished, before the survivors were finally brought here, to Roatan. They landed on April 12th, a date that marks a whole new chapter for their people in Central America. And that very first settlement, a place called Punta Gorda, is still the vibrant heart of Garifuna culture on the island today. Every single year on April 12th, they commemorate their ancestors' arrival with this powerful, moving festival, even reenacting the landing with traditional boats. The whole place just comes alive with music, dance, and celebration. And for you, as a visitor, this isn't some museum piece. It's a living, breathing culture you can experience firsthand. You can hear the powerful rhythms of punta music, driven by these amazing hand-carved drums. You can taste incredible dishes like machuca or tapado, which are all about coconut milk, plantains, and fresh seafood. And you can just listen for their unique language, which is a living link to their incredible history. All right, so let's say you're sold. You're ready to book that flight. Let's switch gears and get into the nitty-gritty, the essential, practical tips that will make your trip not just smoother, but more responsible too. Getting around is actually pretty simple. A private taxi from the airport to the West End or West Bay area, that's going to run you about 25 bucks. Now, for cheaper local trips, you can hop in what they call a collectivo taxi, which picks up multiple people along a route. And please, don't forget the water taxis. They're the quickest and honestly the most fun way to hop between West End and West Bay for just a few dollars. Okay, listen up, because this is a super important tip about money that will save you a ton of headaches. While Honduras has its own currency, US dollars are accepted almost everywhere. The key, and I mean the key, is to bring small, clean bills. We're talking ones, fives, and tens. Trying to break a $50 or $100 bill can be a real hassle, so just planning ahead with small bills will make your life so much easier. Since the reef is the heart and soul of this island, we all have a role to play in protecting it, and it's pretty simple actually. Common sunscreen chemicals like oxybenzone are incredibly damaging to coral, so it is absolutely essential to only use mineral-based sunscreens. Local conservation groups are even pushing for a total ban on these harmful sunscreens, and as a visitor, choosing the right kind is one of the easiest and most powerful ways you can help. All right, let's tackle the elephant in the room, the question that's probably on your mind right now. Given mainland Honduras' reputation, what is the real safety situation in Roatan? We're going to look directly at the official guidance. First, let's just be totally upfront about it. The U.S. State Department does have a Level 3 reconsider travel advisory for the country of Honduras as a whole, and it cites crime as the primary concern. But, and this is a really, really important but, the very same advisory provides some critical context. It specifically points out that the resort areas in the Bay Islands, and that includes Roatan, are better policed and have more resources than the mainland. That distinction is absolutely key to understanding the real situation on the ground. So what does this mean for you? Well, it just means you need to be a smart traveler. The official advice is clear and it's practical. Be aware of your surroundings. Try to avoid walking or driving in unfamiliar areas late at night. Don't flash expensive jewelry and use trusted transportation. Honestly, these are common sense precautions for tons of travel destinations, and just following them is the best way to ensure you have a safe and amazing trip. So that's Roatan in a nutshell, an island that offers some of the best diving and one of the most resilient cultures in the entire Caribbean. It really is a true paradise, but it's one that asks for something in return from you: your awareness, your respect for its incredible environment, and your appreciation for its complex, powerful history. So the real question is this your kind of paradise?